Welcome back. Let's shift focus to the government's electric vehicle push. Commerce and Industries Minister Piyush Goyal held a meeting with major players from the automobile industry to discuss standards of battery swapping. The meeting includes battery manufacturing companies, two-wheeler and three-wheeler players, and companies that have been approved under the PLI scheme for advanced chemistry cell battery storage. My colleague Danish Anand joins us with more on what happened in that meeting. Danish, tell us more.
Well, the Consumer Affairs Minister Piyush Goyal is holding an important meeting with all key stakeholders on the battery swapping standards. According to sources, this meeting is being attended by key players from the two-wheeler industry, three-wheeler industry, battery manufacturers, as well as by those players that have been given a green signal for the ACC PLI scheme. Well, according to sources, this meeting has been called to build a consensus among the industry as far as the battery standards are concerned, because currently the shape, size and form of the battery is a major bone of contention among several players of the auto industry as well as of the battery industry. Hence, this meeting has been called to build a consensus among the industry. Besides this, in this meeting, the government will also be taking a crucial call on whether to make battery swapping voluntary or whether to make it mandatory. And in this meeting, the government is also likely to decide on the timeline along with the industry that what timeline should be given for the implementation of battery standards. But all in all, if we see, this is a very crucial meeting because this will shape the future policy of battery swapping standard, and it will also give us an indication that once battery standards are decided, then what kind of battery will be going into two-wheelers and other the three-wheelers. So all in all, if we see, the Consumer Affairs Minister Piyush Goyal is holding a very crucial meeting on battery swapping standards.
All right. Thanks very much, Danish, for joining us. An important story there by my colleague Danish Anand. And remember, it's been 1 year since the battery swapping policy, at least the intent, was announced by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the budget, and deliberations have still been on. We've not seen the final draft yet. We're now joined by Chetan Maini, co-founder and chairman of Sun Mobility. Thank you very much for joining us here on CNBC. Chetan, what do you think has been reason for this delay in introducing the battery swapping policy? It was announced on the 1st of February last year. At least the intent was clear. There have been deliberations at Heavy Industries Ministry, deliberations at Niti Aayog, which also came out with a policy statement on that. Where do you think the problem lies at this juncture?
Hi, Parikshit. Thanks so much. First, I must say the government has been very forward-thinking by putting the battery swapping policy here, a much-needed one for the country. Niti Aayog, following that in April, released a draft policy which is very positive. It talked about minimum technical requirements, direct and indirect financial support, reuse and use, how to create innovation and business models, an institutional framework that can enable facility on the ground, and also talked about additional standards and specifications for batteries and battery pack dimensions and connectivity that would come over a period of time after adequate industry consultation. I think it's the last one that has caused the biggest issue. The other parts of the policy, there is a fair amount of clarity, but around the standards and the size, there are a lot of challenges within the industry, as the industry has been doing this for a while, and there hasn't been a consensus around that. And I think that's what's caused a lot of the delay. But the rest of the policy is fairly clear, and I think creating a level playing field today for swappable batteries and the rest of the policies, it's important because today, the industry from 2018, has grown to 50 players, and they're looking forward to a policy that starts it, where it allows the industry to grow, and then over a period of time, the right standards come in to enable to further accelerate.
Right. Chetan, just to also ask you about the lack of consensus on standards and size. How difficult will it be to get different OEMs right now? And yes, right now, most of the established players in the market, the likes of Bajaj Auto, Hero MotoCorp, Ola Electric, Ather, they all have fixed batteries. So how difficult would it be to get everyone to comply to certain standards, size of the battery pack?
Parikshit, you raised a very important point. I think that at this nascent stage of the industry, we have to look at 4 aspects. One, give consumers choices, right? There are different performance electric two-wheelers and three-wheelers. They're all the way from 250 watts to 6 kilowatts. They want small ranges and large ranges, and you can't have one silver bullet that meets all of them. That would limit consumers on this. So I think the key is for us to have multiple solutions available for the customers. It also enables innovation in these different spaces for what the customer would look at. And the other two challenges that the industry sees is around safety. It's already a challenge for one battery in one vehicle. If now this has to go into multiple vehicles and can come in inadvertently, how do we take care of the safety challenges where a lot of integration is required? And how do we cater in case there's an issue of liability? So OEMs and the battery operators and the entire ecosystems believe let multiple solutions coexist, right? And over a period of time, these will then these will come into, industry would converge to a set of standards that they feel appropriate. But in early days of innovation, we got to keep the customer, we got to keep safety and innovation on top.
Right. Chetan, this also comes at a time when the EV industry is just taking off. Yes, we saw the EV industry crossing the 10 lakh registration mark at the end of December 2022. But at the same time, many companies would like to keep their supply chain confidential, where they're getting their battery packs from, their lithium-ion cells from. If the batteries were to become swappable, there would be very little difference when it comes to the heart of the scooter, in a sense. Do you get a sense that possibly in the first phase of this policy, if implemented, it would only be for maybe three-wheelers or public transport?
No, I think it could fall for all form factors. I think the key is there'll be multiple swapping solutions coexisting, right? In some cases, someone would want higher range. They may have a different battery pack. The packaging may be easier in a three-wheeler versus under the seat of a two-wheeler. And so we're saying that these should coexist. Fixed batteries will coexist, swapping solutions coexist, and multiple swapping players will offer multiple solutions which are tested with the OEMs, and the OEM and the swapping players come out together with a solution. So it's tested by ARAI, it's integrated correctly, it looks at all the safety things, and then when a customer walks in the showroom, they can say, hey, you can get a swappable battery A, which gives you this performance, or you can take swappable battery B that gives you, Y performance. And therefore, it's not about one size, it's about offering consumers multiple options where they can understand the performance of the vehicle, they can understand the network, they can understand the pricing. So this is what's important. It's about creating standards around safety and performance where the consumer knows what choices he's making, and let them make different choices and have the different options available for them. So it's applicable for all forms of,
Right.
Of course, shared mobility, but it would move on to personal mobility too.
All right. Thank you very much, Chetan Maini, for joining us, giving us your view on the way forward for the battery swapping policy. But clearly, the attempt of today's meeting that was held with Piyush Goyal, the Commerce and Industries Minister, was to build consensus around standards and the size of the battery. As Chetan said, that is where the challenge lies when it comes to consensus in the industry. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. Don't go anywhere. News continues on CNBC-TV18.